I'm Leon, and today we're taking a look at the Nerf Elite 2.0 Echo, a return to form if you would, and this might be one of the last times we see it on shelves, so, well, if you've been thinking about it, maybe consider it now. Let's take a look. The Elite 2.0 Echo has been called a lot of things. Successor to the Retaliator, successor to the Delta Trooper, complete worthless garbage. It's been called a couple of things, some nicer than others, but what I can tell you is it's a pretty standard Springer formula we've seen from Nerf. So I'll go ahead and take off the attachments here so you can see exactly what this blaster is. This is what everything is. It's a top prime Springer blaster that's magazine fed from the Elite 2.0 series. It's a, well, pretty average Springer primary. Bonus from the Retaliator, but carried over from the Delta Trooper days, just so happens to be Slamfire. Hold down the trigger, you can go ahead and rack some shots off. Honestly, it's not bad. Barrel attachment here, stock attachment here, and then no other customization on this base blaster itself, and that's probably why they included the barrel with 4 rails on it and the stock with a rail on it. It's not too bad. So I'll go ahead and put everything on. Barrel attachment slides like so. Stock attachment slides like so. And now it's fully kitted out in the way it was supposed to be. That's honestly pretty solid. Let's go ahead and just talk about what the Echo is. Well, the Echo is a Spring Prime magazine-fed blaster. So it's going to be one of your sort of generic first blaster pickups for new Nerfers, although I do have my reservations about it. And it's also going to be one of those, you know, just traditional arsenal fillers that is good to hand to sort of anybody. Slamfire is a nice addition on this one, but honestly, not too much else to talk about. If you've seen a Delta Trooper or Retaliator, you know what this blaster is. And you also know about that. This is a problem that I first encountered on my SMG Zesty. It's a problem that if you pull the trigger back a little too slowly, or sometimes if you pull the trigger back pretty quickly, the priming handle slides back instead of the blaster firing. This is a known issue, and this is one of the latest releases of the Echo, and yet it still is presented with this horrible issue. It makes the blaster almost unusable unless you're playing it in 2 very specific ways. The first of which being you have your hand actively on the priming handle itself. Then, well, that's kind of what you have to get used to. The second is, you can see I've gone ahead and replicated the issue. It's if I'm pulling the trigger very slowly. So pulling the trigger really quickly tends to work most of the time. Let's try again. There we go. Slow. Fast. So it's cool, but I shouldn't really have to think about that when I'm using a Nerf blaster. Especially since a Retaliator, even with the slide lock removed, still fires every trigger pull with no problem. Even there, I tried to fire it, and it's just pulling back. It's a really frustrating issue, and I'm really sad to say that it's on the Echo, which makes this kind of already average blaster into something that is not super, well, not super great. Let's go ahead and talk about customization options. You saw that there's a barrel attachment and a stock attachment, but on the included stuff is 4 rails. Barrel here comes with 2 rails on the side, 1 on the bottom, and 1 on the top, which honestly is pretty cool. I would have appreciated some side rails, maybe on the main blaster itself, but the top rail works perfectly fine. It accommodates an optic pretty well, and while I'm not really a fan of the optic being that far in front, I'm at least happy we have it. Plus, bonus, if you have the red dot sight, your hands right here, and I have really big hands, so it just so happens to be almost a perfect angle for me. One of the rails I'm not so sure about is this one. I already find this stock a little too short and a little too uncomfortable to use, so I don't really know if I'd be aiming like this. It seems a little silly to me. Am I glad it's there? Kinda. Do I like this stock? Not at all. But it's there, and it's, I think, maybe the only Elite 2.0 stock attachment we've had. Besides the one on the Storm Charge, yeah. I think that's the case. Included mag, 10 round, straight mag. I'm going to make a video on this soon. just because it popped in my head recently. Nerf blasters used to always come with 12s. You guys remember the 12-round straight mags? Sometimes they were half clear, sometimes they were completely clear, sometimes they were just completely orange. Now that seems to be 10s. The Ravenfire came with a 10-round straight mag, the Tri-Strike came with a 10-round straight mag, and basically every Elite 2.0 blaster, besides the Turbine and the Phoenix, came with a 10-round mag. I don't really know what the issue is. Shrinkflation? I don't know. I actually am not mad to see 10-round mags. I think these are really underrated in a way, but now they're kind of everywhere, and it makes me a little sad. Also, I compared this one to my Ravenfire mag, and even my Stormcharge mag, and this one felt really cheap. Compared to some of my old stuff, yeah, the Elite 2.0 mags felt really bad, and you can hear that too. I'm not super impressed with the fact that that's going on, I'll tell you that much. These feel cheap, these feel not to the Nerf quality. I get that they're cheaping out on both the size and scale of these, but come on guys. Mags are essential here. Oh, another bonus, which is why I don't really recommend it for new players, it only comes with the one of them. 20 darts, 10 of the Elite 2.0 blue ones, 10 of the Elite 2.0 orange ones, but one 10-round mag. Had it come with 2 for $25, I would have felt that this was a really compelling package, but more on my opinion later. Jam door. Just comes right off. Bonus, it doesn't hinder the performance of the blaster whatsoever, so if you don't really like it, you can actually take it off. It's super hard to reattach though, so I'm going to do that during the firing demo. But this jam door is super cheap. I hate the Turbine jam door. I hate the Phoenix jam door. The Stormcharge jam door is actually okay. This one is pretty awful. Not a fan of that whatsoever. But hey, this is a Nerf Elite 2.0, and these are the only blasters that are shooting Elite darts right now, so weirdly enough, I have to cut it some slack. Doesn't hinder the performance. Still has that same issue even when the jam door is removed. You can stick your finger in there and prime it, but you can also do the mag well, so whatsoever. It doesn't really matter. On the other side is actually a pretty cool feature. Once I'm primed, I theoretically should not be able to prime again. So, there's that. But right here, there's actually an unjamming button. And it's super easy to access. The jam door has this tiny, tiny lip that makes it really hard unless you're approaching it from the side to open, especially if you don't have nails or a knife on hand. This guy, not so much. You can just press it down and it's really easy to access. So I'm a big fan of this unjamming button, and I'm actually really happy it's here. And then let's talk one other thing, and then I'll let you go ahead and see it fire. This guy, which is in the trigger guard. Why does it have to be in the trigger guard? I don't know, but it's the mag release. This one is probably one of the best I've had. It's not as good as the Storm Charges. I think the Storm Charge was leagues ahead of everything else. But in terms of a trigger guard mag release, this one is super smooth. It has no resistance to it. It feels really good, almost too sensitive at some points. So I can't really complain about that. Trigger itself feels nice. Magazine release feels nice. I hate its positioning. I'll always advocate for mag releases on the side, paddle mag releases here, or even something weird, but never in the trigger guard. But you know what? That's the least of my concerns with this blaster. Let's go ahead and see it fire. Shooting some Elite darts, then some darts on waffles. Then on this side, I've got darts on chillers. Firing performance out of this. I've been kind of testing it, and the SMG Zesty sort of did the same thing, but this one seems to be a lot worse. I tested it both on and with the barrel off, and it seems to be a continuous issue here, where this blaster has really inaccurate and really inconsistent shots, even compared to something like the Retaliator or the Delta Trooper. I don't know what's going on with that. And I don't really care to find out because, well, the Echo is just kind of, eh. I'm happy it's back in store, and I've been, well, wanting to get one for a good while, just because Slamfire Retaliator, that's not the SMG Zesty, sounded like something that would be useful. But its shots are so inaccurate, even with the best darts in my arsenal, those being the chili darts. See that video up above if you want to know more about that. But I can't seem to get a proper read on it. Even with elite darts, it's still whatever, and that's 10 feet away I'm having inconsistency issues. So it can shoot sometimes pretty well, but other times it seems to have these really interesting failures. I'm not sure why. Is it a big deal? Not necessarily. It does shoot average Nerf performance and does still shoot well. I do like the fact that it's got Slamfire. I don't love the fact that it's Elite 2.0 and feels cheap. But, I don't know. It can be quick. It can be right in some scenarios. And if you're into it, I'm not going to stop you from buying it. I'll definitely say a word of caution, especially considering how much this blaster is. There's a lot more than I'd prefer. If you're into this top prime kind of action and don't really care for Slamfire, check out the Air Warriors Eradicator. It's $5 cheaper, comes with 2 mags, and honestly is a much more consistent blaster. Or if you have a couple of extra bucks to spare, the Retaliator is still on sale for about the $34 mark on Amazon. So hey, another reason to check out that. And some other blasters are really cheap now too. The Storm Charge is the same price. I'd get the Storm Charge. The Spectrum is $5 less. I'd get the Spectrum. The Rebel is $15 less. I'd get the Rebel. So it's interesting. For $25, for 20 darts, these attachments and 1 mag, I don't know. Had it been $25 with 2 mags, either 10s or 18s, whatever they chose, I would have been able to actually recommend this one pretty well. Sure, it's a little inconsistent, but that's okay. It comes with 2 mags. But $25 for a top prime Springer with 1 mag? I don't know. The Corruptor's the same price too. And I have my reservations about that blaster, but I will say it was more consistent with its shooting. You gotta fix that priming handle though. And a couple of other brands have things that are very competitively there. So for $25, I don't know. I don't know. And I'm sorry it's a confusing recommendation, but I have mixed feelings about this one. As did most Nerfers when it came out. I think if you like it, you'll like it. If you don't like it, skip this one. That's all I can really say about the Echo. So sorry to leave this review on kind of a bummer, but yeah, that's what I think. But that's going to conclude my review of the Nerf Elite 2.0 Echo. Hope you enjoyed this video, and if you like what I do, feel free to like and subscribe. We've got a much more kind of positive review schedule lined up. This is sort of one of the blasters I just needed to talk about because, well, it's still on shelves and, well, people could buy it. If you have any requests or if you have any questions about this blaster, feel free to leave a comment. I'm always reading comments, I'll always respond, at least with something, and I'll let you know what I can do for you. And as always, remember, even though a reviewer may have told you to buy this one, certainly not me, but if a reviewer did tell you to buy it, or anything rather, remember you don't have to buy it just because the reviewer told you to. Be wise with your money. Make your choices, you know? Be as smart as you need to be with it, but if something speaks to you, don't be afraid to spend some money on it. And as always, take it easy.